Hello, all performers, and welcome to the fifth and final installment of the Courageous Leadership Series, where we're talking about mindset, messaging, and moving forward in these unprecedented times that we're all experiencing. And before I even launch into the content for today, I really just want to commend you for being here. I know that we're all running 100 miles an hour. We all have a lot of fires that need to be put out. And I really just commend you for putting your own personal growth and development at the forefront. And I want you to know that from the outset, that it's a very uncommon thing. It is what courageous leaders do. And I really do commend you for doing that. So with that being said, let's go into the first mindset point. And when I put out the first installment of this Courageous Leadership Series, I laughed a little bit in that installment. And I actually had somebody contact me afterwards, and they said, Scott, you shouldn't be laughing when this is going on. These aren't laughing matters. And I get that. Sickness, human suffering, financial hardship, lack of resources, an uncertain future. None of these things are laughing matters, but quite honestly, sometimes what matters more than anything else, even if it's not laughing matters, what matters is laughing. And that's the first point when we're talking about mindset, is to actually laugh amid everything that's going on. And please understand what I'm saying when I say that, to laugh amid everything that is going on. I'm not saying laugh at human suffering, or I'm not saying laugh in response to the coronavirus. I'm actually talking about being able to find humor and being able to find laughter amid everything that is swirling around in our society. And if I were to just ask you the question, how much have you laughed today? Or if you're listening or watching this first thing in the morning, how much did you laugh yesterday? Because what I will guarantee you is that your amount of laughter is directly correlated with how you are perceiving and experiencing and just handling everything that's going on in our society right now. And there's hard science to actually back it up. I wrote a blog post on this not that long ago on some of the scientific benefits of laughter. And just to list out the top 7, it lowers stress, it decreases pain, it improves cardiac function, strengthens resilience, relaxes your muscles, lowers blood pressure, and quite possibly the most important one in this time right now is it boosts T cells and your immune system. Which, if we're talking about something like the coronavirus, one of the best things that you can possibly do at this time is to bolster your T cell count and your body's ability to fight off infection. So I have no idea how this laughter is going to manifest itself in your life. It can be you going home after work and just watching a funny docuseries or a movie on Netflix. It can be you texting memes maybe to some friends of yours that just make you smile and laugh. But what I will promise you is that the amount of laughter that you are able to find and humor amid everything that's going on will have a tremendous impact on how you are perceiving and experiencing everything that's going on. Because quite honestly, we don't need more seriousness in the world right now. Like really, you don't need me to be ultra serious on this podcast. There's enough seriousness out there for you, for your teams, and quite honestly, if you can find some humor amid everything that's going on, that will translate to you also being better on the other side and you being able to be a more courageous leader for the people that need you most. So that's number one. Number 2 is when we look at communication and we look at messaging, and especially in these uncertain times where even if you're finding laughter amid everything that's going on, a lot of the messaging and a lot of the communication of what you have to do, especially if you're a business leader, is probably pretty serious things, right? And there's a certain method of delivery and a way of communicating this messaging that makes it more effective and impactful for the people around you. And I love everything as far as the technology that we have available to us. The text messaging, obviously email. If you're a business leader, you probably have a platform that allows you to chat with employees or associates too. But it can be very easy to default to those things. And in terms of communication, especially when we're talking about relatively serious things, is to actually get away from just writing things down and to let people see you and to let people hear you. And I think when we're talking about courageous leadership, one of the most courageous things that we can actually do as leaders is to admit that we don't have all the answers, is to say, you know what, we're doing the best we can with what we've got right now, based on the data, based on the information that we have. We're doing our best to move forward, but we don't exactly know what the future is going to look like. And that message is always better communicated if people can hear you through a conference call or see you through a Zoom or a WebEx. Those things are tremendously impactful, because even if you are a literary genius, you can't possibly express your emotions and your viewpoint and where you're coming from in the same way via text, via chat, via email, as you can when people can actually see you and hear you. And again, that courageous leadership and that ability to just say, we don't exactly have all the answers right now, we're just doing our best. It's very different than authoritarian leadership, where you're basically saying my way or the highway, I've got all the answers, it's not my fault. And you're just kind of saying, this is the way that we're doing it and it's going to be fine. It is actually a very courageous thing to be able to say, we're trying to figure this out as we go and we're doing our very best. And I think for people on your team and the people around you, they will respect you that much more if they're able to see it in your body language, or if they're able to actually hear it in your tonality. Number 3 is, when we're looking at moving forward, when all the dust settles from this, and I don't know when it will be. At the time that this is being recorded, it's late March. So I don't know if it'll be the beginning of April, beginning of May, or 3 to 6 months from now. But when all the dust settles and we're out of the thick of it, we are all going to have to ask ourselves 2 very basic questions. Where am I now and where am I going? And anytime I do goal achievement presentations, I explain it like a GPS. You need to know 2 things when you're going into goal achievement. You need to know your starting point. You need to know your end destination. And as we look at this, where you sit right now towards the end of March is probably a very different starting point, or a very different point than you thought you would be maybe at the beginning of 2020. I know it's very different for me. And whether you're an athlete that potentially had their season canceled, a college student that had the rest of their semester and classes canceled, or a business leader that's seriously going to have to just revise, what is my forecast and the metrics and the targets and the goals that I had for my business? We're all going to have to take a good hard look at reality and to say, where am I now after this settles down? And where do I want to end up? And then how can I most efficiently and effectively get there? Those are questions we're going to have to ask. So to recap these 3 things: to laugh amid everything that's going on, not laugh at it, but to find humor, to find laughter, to find some semblance of joy amid all the seriousness that's going on in our world is a tremendously powerful thing for you personally, professionally, and emotionally when you are communicating messaging with your team or with the people around you, especially in this time of isolation and social distancing. I think to let people see you and hear you is more important now than probably ever before. And when the dust starts to settle, whenever that is, ask, what is my revised new starting point? What does my end destination look like? And how can I possibly get there? And to put a bow on this 5-part series and to really kind of cap this off, I started out in the first installment saying character is tested when you're up against it. And you might be too stuck in the thick of it right now, and I might be too, quite honestly, to actually be able to fully appreciate and to realize the lessons that we're all learning about ourselves throughout this process. You're learning something about yourself. You're learning something about your ability to be courageous and your ability to lead. If you are a business leader, you are learning a lot about your teams. And I would highly encourage you to pay close and careful attention to who are the people on your teams, who are the people in your organization or your company that have stepped up during this time, because you learn a lot more about people when they're under stress, when they're under pressure, and when they're under the gun of adversity than you ever do when you're winning and when everything is going well. So you're learning something about yourself, you're learning something about your team and the people around you, and I would hope that as a society, we're learning something about each other as well. I just got done, at the time that I'm recording this, I just got done doing a 5-mile run. I've recorded all of this content from out in Colorado. And I just have a loop that I do on some trails that are crushed gravel. And it's just a popular place where people will go up and they'll run and they'll hike and they'll spend time with their families. And when I got done with my run yesterday, there were more people out there than I've ever seen before. The parking lot was absolutely packed. There were cars extending out of the parking lot. It looked like Field of Dreams or something with the cars pulling in. And everybody was kind of in their separate group, either as a couple or as a family. And quite honestly, there weren't that many people just busting out workouts. It was a lot of people that seemed to be moving very slowly, enjoying and appreciating the time with each other, soaking up the views of the mountains. And I think just having maybe a greater overall appreciation for what is just going on and maybe what they have around them. And it is my belief, and perhaps it's just the optimist in me, but I know we're learning something about ourselves, our teams, but I think as a society, maybe this is a sign that we need to slow down a bit and think about what's really important in this fast-paced, hectic lifestyle that we all lead. It's just my greatest hope that we are all learning those lessons as well. So thank you so much for being a part of this Courageous Leadership series. If you missed any of these installments and you would like to go back to them, just go to scottwelle.com/courageous. That's SCOTTWELLE.com/courageous. There will be a link in the description or the show notes for you to be able to go there as well. But I just want to commend you for being here. Keep outperforming. Keep being the courageous leader that you are. And I wish you all the best going forward. Good luck. God bless.